All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming in more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. I'll be talking about my key games for the upcoming weekend in the world of college football. Not as many this weekend as it was last weekend, but still, there are some key games on tap. And I want to start off with the 12th ranked Oregon Ducks traveling to Columbus to take on the third ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, Oregon heads into this game looking to get some respect for themselves as well as the rest of the Pac 12 versus one of college football's blue bloods. But for Oregon, who is a 14.5 point underdog, to go to Columbus and pull off this upset, they're going to need a big game from running back CJ Verdell. And on top of that, the health of defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau is up in the air after he suffered that ankle injury last week. And honestly, if you're going to beat an Ohio State team on their home field, you know what? You got to be able to bring it, and you got to have all hands on deck. You look at Ohio State, they survived a tough game last week on the road versus a very good Minnesota team, and I think they're going to be able to build off of that. CJ Stroud had his first game as the starting quarterback, and I think he has his sea legs under him, and I think he's going to keep progressing as this season goes along. But with that said, I still expect a lot from this Ohio State running game with Master Teague. And then you just think about that fast-paced Buckeye offense with Chris Olave at wide receiver. I think linebacker Cody Simon could have a big game in this one for Ohio State. And I think the Buckeyes roll at home by the score of 37-20. Now, a huge clash in Ames on Saturday afternoon as the 10th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes out of the Big Ten travel to take on the 9th ranked Iowa State Cyclones out of the Big 12 conference. And this might be the most important battle ever between these in-state rivals. You look and you think about Iowa under head coach Kurt Ferentz, they keep it very close to the chest, very smart on offense. They don't take a lot of risk, and they play solid fundamental defense. And with that said, for Iowa to go on the road and get the win here, offensively, Tyler Goodson and running back needs to have a big game. But I look at this Hawkeye defense, a lot of talent there with Seth Benson at linebacker. And you think about that secondary with Riley Moss and Jack Kerner. They want to go out there and try to find a way to neutralize this Iowa State offense, which is easier said than done when you think about the talent there. Brock Purdy at quarterback. He's a guy that, he might not jump off the screen with his talent, but this guy wins. And more importantly, he goes out there and makes plays for this Cyclone team. Running back Brees Hall could have a big game versus this Hawkeye defense. And if Brees Hall gets it going, it's going to open things up for wide receiver Isaiah Hutchinson. But I look at this Iowa State defense. You look at Will McDonald, the fourth at defensive end, along with Jake Hummel and Mike Rose at linebacker. They are going to be very familiar with Goodson all afternoon. I think this is going to be a very good game. Field position and turnovers will be key in this one, but I'm going to take Iowa State at home by the score of 27-19. And finally, at the Big House on Saturday night, you're going to have the Michigan Wolverines, who are a 7-point favorite in this contest, hosting the Washington Huskies. Now, for Washington, they need to get back on track or get on track, period, following last week's home loss to Montana. Quarterback Dylan Morris did not have a good game as he had 3 interceptions. And I think for this Husky squad, they got to get their running game going with running back Richard Newton. And if they can get Newton going, it's going to open things up in the passing game for the likes of tight end Cade Otton. Linebacker Jackson Sermon he does have the potential to have a big game for Washington in this one. As you know, Michigan's going to try to run the football right down Washington's throat. So I think Sermon has to go out there and help this defense try to predicate things and dictate a lot of situations and keep Michigan behind the chains in second and long and third and long situations to make them a little bit more one-dimensional on second and third down. And that's important because Michigan lost their big playmaker at wide receiver last week in their victory versus Western Michigan, as Ronnie Bell was lost for the season with a knee injury. But you still have running back Blake Corum, who could have a big impact for the Wolverines in this contest, while quarterback Cade McNamara looks like he's getting very comfortable in that pocket for the maize and blue. Washington will play a more spirited game this time around, but the bottom line is I like what I saw from Michigan last week. I think this team is good. They're not Big Ten championship good, maybe, but they're going to go out there and take care of their business for head coach Jim Harbaugh. This one, I'm going to take the Wolverines at home, and this one by the score of 30-20. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.